Welcome back to Are We There Yet? In association with Matter Private Network. Now, today's guest is somebody that I have known for years. It is the one and only fabulous Cecelia Ahern. But there was so much I learnt about her in this chat that I did not know. We talked all about her wild career, the phone call that literally changed her life overnight. She harboured pop star ambitions. She's also a fully qualified forklift driver. Who knew? But most importantly, the woman brought me snacks. Enjoy the conversation. Cecelia Ahern, it is so lovely to have you in my podcast studio.
So happy to be here. It's like your living room. This is the fanciest podcast studio I've seen.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, you win.
Well, if it was my living room, it wouldn't be as tidy as this, let me tell you. First of all, you've brought me in treats. You've already won me over.
Well, that was the aim.
Love this. Protein balls.
Yes.
But these are Cecelia Ahern protein balls. These are your own recipe.
Maybe. I got them from somewhere. Yeah, they're my invention. So they're walnut, carrot, dates with a bit of vanilla, maple syrup and rolled in coconut. They're very sweet because I get these sweet cravings, so to not.
Oh my God. I have just finished on breakfast radio and you have just given me the greatest gift. To keep me going for the next one.
And you're gorgeous. So polite to eat it in front of me as well. Maybe.
This is my second one. You know this.
I'll join you.
My favourite cake is carrot cake. So
yes, so it is very carrot
to have carrot in a protein ball.
There were more, but on the way in I took one.
Oh my God. Do your kids eat them?
No, they won't.
I can't get my kids to eat anything healthy really at the moment either.
But then they're quite sweet though. I think that they would.
Well, do they? Have you done chocolate ones?
No. That's actually my first and only protein ball.
Stop it.
Yes.
Did you just do those especially for me?
Well, no, they're the... well, they are especially for you, but they're the only flavour I've ever made.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, listen, 10 out of 10 for me. Love them.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to take a mouthful of coffee now so I don't have...
maple syrup.
Come here. I got to chat to you very recently on the radio and I just thought I really wanted to get you on the podcast because Paper Hearts is your new book that's out, which I had read, fell in love with the characters with Pip. It's such a great read. And then when I was kind of researching for our chat today, what I love most in the world, I think, is just finding out random stuff about people that I would never kind of associate them with. So the story of you getting your forklift license is possibly one of my favourite things that I've heard this year because it was just so at odds with who I suppose I thought you were.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So will we start there?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's probably the thing I'm most proud of. Very happy to talk about that.
Like you've sold 25 million books globally, but getting your forklift license is the thing you're most proud of. This is why I love you.
So the reason why I have one is because one of my favourite things to do as an author is to go to the warehouses where the books are in stock and they come in these great big pallets and it's amazing to see thousands of your book all together. And I've been doing this for years, but the warehouses to me are like playgrounds. They have all of these vehicles that I want to play with. I don't know what it is about me that I want to like drive forklifts and whatever else they have around. And they used to in the olden days, but then health and safety got involved and
so back in the day you could get up and like whiz around the warehouse.
Well, you wouldn't have to really whiz around, but you could like sit on it and just play.
Great.
I'm such a child. I really am. So anyway, a couple of years ago, I was in 3 different warehouses and every single one of them said no, that I couldn't get on it. And it was like this repetitive no that was really kind of getting to me. And the last warehouse man said, if you come back with your license, we'll let you drive it. And I just knew from that moment.
Like kind of taking the piss out of you going.
Totally being sarcastic. Yeah, he was like, come back with your license. And I got into the car and I Googled the forklift license. I thought it would be funny if I came back with one. And I didn't know how easy or hard it would be. So I went to the Irish School of Motoring and I did it was just one day because I got kind of the basic forklift license. I could have gone like 5 days doing a better one, which I'll have to do, I think, in future.
Okay.
It was amazing. It was the best day out.
So when Cecelia Ahern walks into the Irish School of Motoring and like, did you have to fill out a form to drive the forklift or what?
I think they were like, why are you here? Why do you want to drive this? Because everyone was there for their job for reasons, they needed to get their license. And I just explained I'd really like to be able to drive my books around the warehouse. And I was told I couldn't. It was this brilliant team. It was a father-son team that were teaching me. And the son was an opera singer. He was singing around the warehouse. It was this surreal day out, honestly. It was like
And
something I'd write about.
Where do you go and learn to be a forklift
So it was
driver?
in Finglas in the Irish School of Motoring.
Okay.
And you had to be able to do a figure of 8 forward. Okay. You had to pick up the pallet, bring it in the figure of 8 forward, and then be able to reverse and go backwards.
Sorry, have you a high vis and a hard hat on?
No hard hat, but a high vis. I also love a high vis.
I love high vis.
Yeah, and they've got great pink ones. And my aunt found these amazing fashionable high vis, this company, and I wish I could remember what it was called, but they do like taper to your body. Like they can do really stylish.
Wow.
Yeah, so anyway, there's a whole business there. So yeah, high vis and forward in the figure of 8, backwards in the figure of 8. And then I had to watch videos of things going wrong in warehouses of, horrific things where you could just tip against, one, I don't know what you call it. And then everything crashing
topples,
down. So
like the dominoes effect.
Exactly. So it's not, all fun and games when you're driving a forklift in a warehouse. And so there was that. And then I had to do a written test.
So did you did you get in and lift your first pallet of best-selling books? Have you done it yet?
I went in and they did let me, but the fear in the eyes of every man standing there looking at me made me feel, it's okay, I'll just go up and down a bit. They were terrified. And it was a different forklift, to be fair. I wasn't trained on that one. So
okay, you're gonna have to go back.
I just do a bit back and forth and up and down. That's all I wanted.
I know. So that was like it was like the box ticked.
Yeah.
Funny, I was chatting just this morning actually to Baz Ashmawi, and Baz has written his new show Faithless, and he was basically saying it was a combination. He's just that personality. When somebody tells him he can't do something or that something's kind of beyond his reach, that he is that person that will just that's the trigger for him to actually go and do it.
It's funny. I keep thinking about why it is like it really. I don't know if it was being told no, but I think I feel like I'm a problem solver. Like if someone says, no, you can't, I think, well, that's not actually true because there's always ways to do things that you want to do. So I was, that no did trigger me.
Yeah. Okay. So you're like, well, I'm like, there's no problems, just solutions. I am definitely a solutions girl. Don't come to me, with I mean, obviously we all go through like the panics when shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
But I am somebody who can kind of very quickly adapt and kind of get into problem solving.
Pivot.
I can pivot.
Buzzword, pivot.
I can. I think, I probably get that from my dad, to be honest. My dad is one of these people who is unflappable. And anytime I do interviews about like who's the person you admire most in the world, it's my dad because he is that person who he's just unflappable. Like he's lost his businesses. It's gone down the Swanee, went into NAMA, lots of different things. And I have never seen the man stressed, maybe obviously internally, but he's just one of those. And my whole family are kind of like, it's very unique.
Yeah. That's funny you say that because it's my dad that gave me that advice as well. Like he always says, there's always a solution. Whenever you can get panicky about something, it's like, there's this, like, calm down. There's always a solution. So I feel like I get that from him too.
Yeah.
It is a nice way to be. Because then you don't feel like you're stuck. There's always a way out of something. Yeah. Might not be the way you wanted to go.
But there will be.
But there's another way.
There will be a way out. The other random fact, and maybe
there's a lot of random facts,
but maybe lots of people knew this. I did not know that you almost represented Ireland in the Eurovision.
Yeah.
Sorry. Cecelia Ahern, who I would have thought was the ultimate introvert.
I know. I've had many lives.
I loved this. Yeah. I was like, what? So, okay, first of all, let's go a little bit further back. Were you a kind of an all singing, all dancing Billy Barry girl?
I wasn't Billy Barry. I was Diggs Lane. Do you remember Diggs Lane?
Yes, I do.
At a younger age, I was jazz and tap at home in Malahide, and then I was Diggs Lane, and I lived there, loved it. To be honest, I'd love to do a documentary about Diggs Lane, about the people who came in there, and because you're looking around now, and there's so many bands of people that I remember him when he was in the dance class, or. And they've become such different things. Like there's the brilliant Graham Cruz, who's now a fashion designer.
Yes.
He was my dance instructor and I lived for Diggs Lane. It kept me going through my teenage years, like, through school, hated school.
Okay.
I was in there 3-4 times a week. And so anyway, question was, yes, I loved dancing. And then I ended up teaching dancing when I was a teenager to kids. So that was like my little part-time job. And then
I would have thought of you as like the studious, kind of locked away in her room.
No.
Like reading endlessly. Like, I don't know what. Like, I don't know
did
what.
that
That's
too.
so...
Okay. There's two sides of me. It was very weird.
But they don't have to be mutually exclusive,
Yeah.
obviously. But
I loved dancing. I loved performing. I loved. So what I would do, we were in a competition class. Like we would compete against other dance troupes as well, like all around the country. And then I did a pantomime with Twink and Dustin and Samantha Mumba. That was Rockin' Hood, Prince of Thieves.
yes, I worked with Twink on Celebrity Eurostar back in the day.
Wow.
I did Celebrity Eurostar. Twink was my mentor. And one of her lines...
Great mentor.
She's great mentor. God love her. I mean, there was myself, Dahi O'Shea, John Aldridge, and the judges were Louis Walsh, Brendan O'Connor, and Linda Martin. And so John Aldridge, myself and Dahi, but we used to just literally go on the piss the entire time. And we'd end up in Rights and Swords like 2 or 3 nights of the week. And Twink was like killed trying to tell us to like take this seriously.
Oh, she was...
oh my God.
Incredible work ethic.
Oh my God.
I learned so much from her. It was, I would say it's a tough experience in pantomime. It was, and I stupidly was in 6th year as well. I mean, what a year to do it.
Oh, really?
2 shows a day back then in the olden days, it used to go on till February. Pantos went on for so long.
And this was your leaving cert year?
I know, really.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a bad year to do it, I think.
How did you do in the leaving?
Okay.
Okay.
Could have done better. But right there, at that moment, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be a singer or an actor. Sing, act, dance, perform in some way. But then as I was getting older, sorry, to get back to what you asked me about, was Eurosong.
Yes.
So we were, as part of pantomime, I was in this girl band called Bewildered, and we would sing a Bewitched song. And then, do you remember? I love that. Do you remember there were just bands all the time at that time?
Yeah.
There was pop bands everywhere.
But Louis Walsh was just picking people off the street from McDonald's. It was just like, I
was going to so many auditions in the Red Box. Not so many. I think I went to 1. But he knew that I was around, and
Louis.
Yeah. And he'd, invite me to things, and, you were kind of hanging on for your moment, waiting. And like everybody else in the country. And then he said, finally, I had my moment with the band we call Shimma. It was 2 girls, 2 boys. First of all, it was just me. We had auditions in the Red Box for the others. And we were put together solely for the Eurosong. So we were supposed to represent Ireland in the Eurovision, but first we had to get through the Irish competition. Yes. But we got a record deal with Polydor UK. We had, they really pumped a lot into us. We recorded at Pete Waterman Studios, and we went to Pineapple Studios and had a great choreographer. Remember, he was Westlife's choreographer at the time, and we thought, yeah, this is it. And we didn't get through. We came 3rd in the competition.
Okay, so that was the end.
That was it. I didn't hear anything for months and months. Everything went quiet. The 4 of us were like, what's going on?
And you had done your leaving cert at this point?
I was in college at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went to Griffith College?
Yeah. I think that was my first year of college. And that was it. And then months later we heard we were dropped. And actually I was happy at that stage. I think I felt like, I've tried this. This is not for me. I'm not the best singer. I'm a good ooh and ah, but I'm no Beyonce. And I love to dance, but this is not, I think
it didn't feel at that point, the reality of having that experience.
Yeah.
It kind of became clear to you it wasn't your calling.
Yeah, it just hit me that it's like, right, this has been fun. And it has been great up to this point, but I don't want to pursue this into my 20s.
And at that point, did you know what you wanted to pursue?
Well, I was in college doing journalism and media communications, and that is what I always knew I wanted to do from a young age. But the other stuff was just hobbies that were, I was getting to do as little jobs, along the way. But after that, I think I did a little bit of session singing after that. But then I put my head down, and I was a bit embarrassed as well, to be honest. It was cringe. Let me just get the head down now and concentrate at college. And then 2 years later, P.S I Love You happened. So that was all leading up to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the fact that you chose like journalism and media and communications, coming from the family that you did and growing up with your dad as Taoiseach, as Bertie, like one of the few people in Ireland that doesn't actually need a surname, it's like Bono and Bertie, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like you'd grown up in a way in the limelight.
Yeah.
And so did that kind of like being around all of that and kind of witnessing your dad and living your dad living a very public profile. And I know he was very protective of you, and as was your mom, but you ended up all over the place in terms of the Oval Office. So, you know, you were.
It was, do you know what? It was from kind of being around him that made me realize I wanted to do it. And it wasn't necessarily journalism, like as in, you know, print journalism. That didn't appeal to me. That whole side of the world didn't appeal to me, probably because of the position we were in. But I loved going to the TV studios and the radio broadcasting. I loved being behind the scenes, particularly on Sundays, because all the politics shows were always on Sundays. So I loved sitting backstage and watching cameramen, the floor manager, the lighting. I loved watching everything.
It's an exciting space.
For me, such a cool space to be in. And still to this day, I never get bored of watching. It feels like magic.
Yeah.
You know, watching nothing and then something occur.
There's there's an energy which I love, and it only happens with live television or live radio. I feel like it's very exciting, kind of working on projects which are pre-recorded as well. But when you're live and you are creating stories, that's what it is. It's creating that magic, and that's what live TV and radio gives you. I still get that to this day.
Yeah, and well, I felt that.
Yeah,
that buzz that you get. I just felt excited, and then realized that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make something. So the course was, you know, it was journalism, media communications, but it was film studies also, TV broadcasting, radio broadcasting. And I loved making the documentaries and all of that side of it. So then I wanted to do a master's in film production. So that's where I was going.
Okay.
But I wrote P.S I Love You, and that changed things.
Needing hospital care can be confusing. The first question out of everyone's mouth, where do I go? Well, the most important decision when choosing a hospital is choosing one that you can trust, one that has the latest innovations and world-class expertise. That is why so many choose Mater Private Network. Mater Private is Ireland's largest hospital network, with hospitals and clinics in 10 locations around the country. They offer some of Ireland's leading specialists in areas like cardiology, oncology, spine, orthopedics, and more. At Mater Private Network, you can be absolutely sure their medical experts put you and your family's needs at the centre of everything they do. Choose the medical care you can trust. Choose Mater Private Network. To find out more, log on to matterprivate.ie.
21 years of age. You're living at home with your mom.
Yep.
In your bedroom. Yeah. How long was it? Bring us back there. How long was it in the making? When did you get the inspiration for the story itself? How did you get that inspiration?
It was all very quick, I have to say. Like from when I got the idea to when I started writing it to when I actually tried to pursue it was all very quick. So I'd left. I decided to drop out of my master's. And
how did that go down?
You know, fine. I was kind of in a bit of a wobbly place, to be honest with you. And it wasn't that I wasn't enjoying the course. I would have loved to have done it. Wish I still had the qualification now. But it wasn't the right year for me to do that.
And when you say wobbly place, where was your head at?
Very exactly. Where was my head at? Like I was just really fearful, and I'd been getting panic attacks and I mean, now it's totally, you hear about these things now and it's normal. Whereas at the time we always try to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
College wasn't the place for me then, but that's when I started writing. So I came up with this character who kind of felt like grief was the main theme, but she'd lost a sense of herself, lost her identity, was trying to find her way in the world. So how it was inspired, I think, is because I was feeling very fearful and quite needy of the people that I love and thinking, God, I can't lose anyone around me. You know, I need my people. Yeah. And so I started thinking of what would be a nice way to hold on to the people I love. And then I came up with the letters. So the story was then a young widow losing her husband. So she wasn't me, but I was able to kind of funnel all those feelings into writing that story. And ultimately it changed my life. So it's quite incredible. So I put pen to paper as soon as I got the idea. I think it was kind of floating around in my head for a while. And then one night I dated it, I put the time, and I write longhand. And I wrote till about 6 a.m, could not stop writing. And I was crying, like I was putting so much of my heart and soul into it, emptied myself into that book, that my mom could see how special it was. And she said, you should send this to someone, you know, because every night I was doing the same thing. And so I sent it to an agent, Marianne Gunn O'Connor, and she was back and forth with me for a while. And when we got to about 10 chapters, she said, I'd like to represent you. I was really looking for
And
advice.
I mean, let's not just to put it in context. Marianne, like she was the biggest agent.
Yeah.
Like to be even getting stuff read by her and building that relationship
Which
with her.
I didn't even know at the time. Like that's
How big it was.
Yeah, and I had no
Okay.
idea. Like I had no knowledge of the industry other than I love telling stories, and I had been doing that along with singing, dancing, all the other things. That was kind of private and quiet. So I didn't realize. I just thought maybe some advice. The whole industry was new to me.
Yeah.
And then so she agreed to represent me, and she said, I'm going to send this out to publishers. And I got the deal on 10 chapters, which I don't know if it's really a done thing anymore. That's 100 years ago.
And that was with HarperCollins.
With HarperCollins.
Who you're still with today.
Yes, yeah.
So where were you when you got that you're 21? Like, are you out with your mates? Are you working a job? Where are you when you get that phone call?
I was out in the pavilions and Swords shopping.
Yes.
Oh no, the first one she
Northside
brought
girl,
me, the first one she brought me in. Sorry, Marianne called me and we went she met me in the Marion and told me the good news in the Marion hotel.
That's much more like it.
So that was the first bit of good news. And
that's
that
much
was
more
for
Marion.
And that was the HarperCollins. It was a 2-book deal. But then because of all this stuff that had happened, I was thinking I better buy some clothes because they need me to do interviews. So I was out shopping and she called me and she said, are you sitting down? So I sat down in a dressing room and
in the Pavilion and Swords.
In the Pavilion and Swords in a shop. And she told me about the American deal, which was a biggie.
Incredible.
It was like 21, everything I just explained. And I'd no credit. My mom was waiting for me in the car park because she just dropped me in. I had to grab a top.
So you had no credit on your phone?
No credit on my phone. Like that's the reality of it. You know, like I had no job. I just finished college.
Oh.
No credit on my phone to even text her, call her. I just was stunned. I left the shop. I just walked out. At one point I had to check I hadn't stolen anything. You know what I mean? I just was stunned. Got into the car and quietly, I just told her and we were both kind of stunned.
Yeah.
We're like not the jumpy up and downy screamy type of people, kind of quiet, stunned.
Oh my God.
That was life-changing.
I'm just imagining if that was me and my mother, like it would have been, like you would have heard us in fucking America. Like you would have heard us screaming.
I think now we probably would, but I think it was such the shock of it, really, you know?
Like
and
it's almost too big to process immediately.
Yeah.
And then things started to just happen, like phone calls from Germany, from the UK.
Yeah.
Like did it happen kind of bang, bang, bang over the course of weeks or months or days?
Every day there was a new deal, every day. And I think it was because it was being, you know, the big news of a new signing and all that comes with that, you know. And then the film deal then came as well very, very soon, very quickly with Warner Brothers, it was at the time, and Alcon eventually made it. It was just one thing after another. And I was in my house, like just going, what on earth is happening to my life?
But I feel from what I know of you, I know your mom's side of the family, you've got a big kind of support. They're all the Kellys.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Aherns. Like I feel that you're like, you know, there's a kind of a big hug around everybody.
It's solid, yeah.
Yes.
It is solid.
That you kind of need that level of people around you to handle and manage. Obviously with Marianne, a great agent, but to manage something as big as that, as quickly as that, as young as that, it does require people to kind of mind you. Or not. Did you feel that?
Well, yes. I mean, not that I didn't feel minded. I did feel very, like I remember I just had no appetite. My mom was cutting up bits of apple to give to me. Like, you know, it was big. It was like,
And did
and
you
also
get
terrifying.
That anxiety that you spoke of in college before. Like I went through a phase when I was in college of getting quite bad panic attacks. And it lasted probably the guts of about 6 to 9 months. They're horrific when they happen. But like, and I do remember, right, the only time, and I've had one or two since, but when I was hosting The Voice, right, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but when I was hosting The Voice live, and this was going out to like 300,000 people or whatever, it's in the Helix, and the doors, I'd be getting my mic backstage, and 10 seconds to go, 9, 8, and all that excitement and love that I used to love about live television. And then I'd be standing and the doors would open and I'd be blinded by these lights, you know, and I'd have to walk 3 steps down in 5-inch heels and hit my mark. And like, if that was the time I could feel that sort of That's the only time it happened to me before, where, and anybody who's had a panic attack will know that kind of sense of rising panic.
Yeah.
That I had to always really try hard to quell, to stop that kind of voice kind of getting into my head, where you'd lose all control. You know,
it's about managing it.
It's about managing it, and I've learned really well, and I did very early on to manage it. Like, again, talking to my mates and getting help and everything. But so I'm just kind of, when something is big, and then it's kind of like, oh, is it as good? Like, does the doubt creep in and the anxiety creep in, or?
Yeah, it was so much. I remember thinking that yes, you've explained that all very well. I mean, that's physically, panic is a physical thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember thinking, well, this is great now. I don't have to go out. I don't have to leave my house. I can write a book at home, and this is the best job ever. I don't have to go out and face the world and do anything. I can hide right here. But that was so unrealistic, because the first thing I had to do, I think I was told I had to go on Pat Kenny Radio, and then I had to do the Late Late Show that week. And so it was all the stuff that I actually was running away from. And the main thing that made me stop college was on the Friday, I'd only been in 3 days. And on the Friday they said, on Monday, so over the weekend, I want you to watch your favorite movie. And on Monday, you're going to talk about it for 5 minutes in front of the class. And Cecelia, you'll be first. And I went, I won't be in on Monday.
Really?
Like, that was the thing. It was just too much. There was just too much tests.
Yeah.
Too many tests that I couldn't. It was too exhausting. And I was like, I can't. I'm not able. If I can't speak for 3 minutes. So all of a sudden, wrote the book, kind of channeled all of these feelings into the story. And then I was going on the Late Late. So,
Jesus.
But I think life just tests you. I always think you're given more. You're never ready. You're never going to be ready for these big things that happen. And that's okay. Because you still should grab them and don't let them pass. And then you're going to learn. They're going to teach you. So
100%. And there's also times in our lives, like, you went from somebody who loved the stage and radio and television, and you went,
I would have loved it then. It's funny, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah. And then, but then what happened was, when they did happen, panic attacks happened, they made me stop being the performer, and I went into myself. And I started becoming this observer and this person who was watching everybody else. And I remember, I don't know what the statistic is, but I remember at the time, say it was something like 4 in 10 people suffer from panic attacks. I don't know if that's true or not, but I remember, and I would be sitting on the bus or sitting on the train or wherever I was, in any room, going, who are the 4 people? Who are the, because everyone looks fine.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of trying to figure people out and watching people and trying to understand people, and which all goes into the writing,
100%.
So this other part of me, the other quieter part of me that I used to do at home on my own, started coming out. So, and I think, and now I have to do the 2 parts. Now I have to be that solitary person that writes the stories and observes and listens and understands people. And then I'm the traveling saleswoman. So it's like those 2 parts of my life have come together. Life is mad.
So very different.
So different.
So very different.
Yeah.
But would you say that you are you an introvert as opposed to an extrovert, or an ambivert? Isn't that a word?
I don't know that word, but that makes sense.
I think what it means is that you can be an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert.
I think I must be an extroverted introvert, because I'm fine in social occasions, love speaking to people. I'm not, but it's more about, I need to be alone to get my energy. I don't think I get it from other people. The way some people have to be around and they're bouncing. Yeah. I don't have that. I'm definitely a slow processor. I get the energy, recharge from myself, silence, walking, peace, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm ready for people. Yeah. And if I do events, I get completely drained, love them, but I'm exhausted after just that energy that you're kind of giving to other people. Yeah. So,
which is so normal. It's so normal. I mean, I would say that I'm an extrovert. I love chatting to people like you. I love being out and about, all of that. But the older that I've gotten as well, like, I'm 46 now, and the older that I've gotten, the more I really relish, and I think becoming a mom as well. Yeah. And the glorious kind of privilege and the luxury that your own 4 walls provide. For me, that has become more special and more sacrosanct as the years gone on. Like, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I never wanted to be at home. I always wanted to be out. Whereas now, I feel it happening. I still love all that, but it's like, I'm the same. If I don't have time on my own, in my 4 walls, with my kids, without my kids, with my husband, like that, my unit is so important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think I felt like that at an early age.
Yes.
So when I had to do all that traveling, and which, by the way, I say had to do, it's a gift. So I'm not complaining about any of it, but it's just having certain type of personality and being in a world where something else was required was exhausting. So it was like, all the American tours, and like, I feel like every week I was somewhere else,
Yeah.
And then I also had to keep writing another book a year, and there was just a lot all the time.
And can I ask you, because I mean, I know like there's your books, all of them are based in Ireland. Maybe have that.
Yeah,
are
pretty
they?
much. Mostly.
Like the Irishness of your subject matter is very prevalent. And I spent 10 years traveling around the world, and I was just, when you just talked about traveling there and being on the book tours, like so many, you must have had so many mental or kind of weird or mad experiences, whether it's kind of going from one country to the next, one continent to the next in 48 hours.
Exactly. I mean,
certainly what I feel for me, what traveling has done, that was my education, and they were my adventures and my stories. And like, when I think back of some of the stuff that I experienced, it was like, mental. And just for you on the road, like, have you got stories that you have worked into your characters, or?
Not that I can put my finger on, but I must, because, as you say, like, I am a sponge, and traveling is so full of experience. I even feel that with my kids now. If you go on one holiday, they come back different people. Like, you learn so much and you change so much. And most of it is on the road on my own. It's like pulling the suitcase along and you're going to the next, hopping on trains, off trains. In America, it's like you're up at 5 a.m. getting on a plane to the next, because it's so big, you're going to the next state. Sometimes I was in 4 states in one day. It was just unreal. So a lot of experiences, a lot of, one thing did inspire, I don't know if you ever watched Samantha Who, did you? That was So that was the comedy show. And I remember, and I just told this story the other day, and I'd forgotten it for 20 years, and it just came up. I was in San Francisco, which I famously, out of everywhere, have had so many events where no one showed up.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why it's just San Francisco don't like me. But so many events where I'm like ready, and then no one shows
San Diego. Fuck you, San Francisco.
I just find it funny. But I never get offended or anything. It's like, well, that was a disaster. There's a little place. There's a town outside of San Francisco called Petaluma. And I went to Petaluma for a signing, and just, I never really knew where I was on my own. Obviously you'd be meeting people in different places, so you're not completely traveling on your own. But one person said to me, "Have you tried our chickens?" And just, when you're a complete outsider, so nothing makes sense. You don't even know where really on the map you are a lot of the time.
Totally.
And I was like, no, I haven't. And then everyone kept saying, "We're famous for our chickens. Like, try a Petaluma chicken." And everywhere I went in that town, it was like chickens. And so I just found it really funny. I couldn't stop laughing. And I went to Atlanta the next day, and on the menu was Petaluma chicken. And I couldn't believe it. I'd never seen it before. And
they're following me.
So I was developing Samantha Who at that stage. So I made the dad this chicken farmer who's obsessed with coming out with chicken facts. And that was all because of Petaluma.
Oh,
so that's why, if you're watching it back, the dad keeps coming out with, "Did you know that chickens, blah, blah, blah." Because I felt like Petaluma, everyone kept saying chicken facts.
Oh, I love that.
So some things like that would just, but you meet people, and people I love strangers, are so bizarre and absurd, and you couldn't make it up. You're the travel queen.
Sorry, I just got a WhatsApp into my phone this morning from a woman called Dee. I won't give out her second name. She just DM'd me on Instagram, and she sent me a message, and she was like, "Hi, Kathryn. I just met your mom on the train from Kerry to Dublin. She had no phone. My mom's up for the weekend, right? She lost her phone." She was like, "She helped me do my makeup and apply my eyeliner using a mirror on the train. And then she asked me to log on to the Brown Thomas website and buy Kurt Geiger boots." That was the message. So I don't know if my mother was like, the Kurt Geiger boots were for her. And I was just like, that is so, but my mother is like, my mother loves strangers on public transport. But like, honestly, it's like, and nothing, when it comes to my mother, nothing surprises me at all. But like, it is the beauty of strangers.
It is the beauty of strangers. And my husband sometimes says when I come home, he's like, why, what happened today? Who did you meet today? Because, and it always happened to me when I was younger. I would always get kind of the odd person sitting beside me on the bus. I think it was that kind of openness.
Yeah.
But then it would be like, God, no.
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
out
yeah.
the
But you
window.
do have a very open, approachable way.
And people tell me things and I like to listen and think. But I remember being on the beach, actually it's a couple of years ago now, Portmarnock Beach, and I kind of was having a moment, and the sun was beautiful, but I was lifting my face to the sky, and then all of a sudden this man appeared beside me and gave me a fright, and he just started reciting poetry, and it was so lovely. His daughter had written the poem and he was reciting it, and then I was, oh, that was really lovely. And then he just walked off.
That was it.
Walked off and actually walked in for a swim. And it was so moving. I did shed a little tear, and then I got into my car and I was like, that's what happened. My family think I'm nuts. But yeah.
And that was strange at the beginning, but strangely beautiful.
Strangely beautiful.
Strangely beautiful.
Like odd. It's one of those things where you're not sure of your safety.
Yes.
but beautiful.
But poetic and
yeah,
beautiful.
But poetic and beautiful. And yeah, you always have to be obviously aware. But it was lovely.
I love that.
And just, yeah, I think that's important. And they say, I see that in lists of things. If you want to improve your life or you want to find joy, have more conversations with strangers. Obviously be careful.
Yeah. I'm a total advocate for that.
And I remember my grandma being like that. She was so jolly and full of joy, and we'd go out and she'd talk to everyone. It'd be like
God.
comments to shouting across people at the supermarket. And
And it's such a good way to be.
Yeah.
Like my mother is like that, right? So we'd go out for dinner in a restaurant and she will literally, we're like, oh, here she goes again now. Like there'd be the table for 6 and then she wouldn't take her coat off. She'll go off around the restaurant. I'm not joking you. She'd go into the kitchen to say hello to the chef. It's like she's a politician, going around, but like she's not shaking hands, but she has to go around. It's like, she just has this incredible confidence about everybody, thinking that everybody wants to talk to her. And I'm like, Mom, come on, you're with your family. We don't get together that often, but she's just like...
A curiosity for people is important, I think.
Yeah.
Now,
but she is a curiosity to lots of people as well as having, as well as being
sounds very
curious.
special.
Yeah.
So, like now, on other days, I'm totally in my head. And if people say, oh, we waved at you and we beeped at you and you didn't see us, I'm also that person, completely. So,
Can I tell you about when you were talking about nobody showing up at your book signing in San Francisco?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have written a book. I wrote a book years ago called, oh my God, what was it called? It was called Off the Beaten Track.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a travel book, and it was Poolbeg Publishing. And it was basically like stories of my years of traveling and on the road with no frontiers. And I loved writing it. I'm not a bad writer, but what the process that I loved is like, because I would have done different trips with different directors and producers and cameramen. So I would meet them and I'd have diaries. I kept diaries of all my trips. But it was really lovely to kind of sit down with a cameraman or camera woman or director and get their take on what they remembered of the trips. So anyway, that's how I kind of, I was way late for my deadline, obviously. But anyway, got the book on the shelves and a big song and dance, and it did really well. But then I had to do a book signing in Eason's on O'Connell Street, right? And
Which was the ultimate place, like...
Oh my God, the ultimate place.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday morning, right? They had a red carpet that ran the entire length. There was red rope. Everywhere I went, there was red rope. And they had built a kind of big platform, right? And I was up on a height on this big platform and I was sitting on a chair. And then it was like, right. And like, there was one man standing on O'Connell Street that had come up from Cavan or something. And
It's very humbling. It is very humbling.
I mean, I would rather that happen in fucking where was that place in San Francisco?
San Francisco, yeah.
I would.
But I've had so many though of those. I mean, and writers always get that. But I was in Warsaw once, and I remember they wanted to bring me. It was a cool venue. It was one of these like really cool staging, and great stage. And they wanted me backstage because they were going to do this big, amazing introduction to me. And they did this huge intro on my ego. I was getting bigger because I'd be nervous before things, but sometimes it helps when people start reminding me what I've done. I'm like, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I can do this.
Great.
I can do this. All these reminders. And it silences that voice. And then they're like, Cecelia Ahern. And I just heard. I started
It was
laughing.
my friend from Cavan probably had flown over.
I started laughing. I walked out. There were 4 people in this huge, big arena, whatever it was called. And one of them was asleep. Oh, God, it's so funny.
Oh my
But I had to do the whole thing. Like there was 100 people there.
Oh
Yeah.
God. So what, are you in conversation with
in
somebody?
conversation,
Oh,
you have to do the whole thing.
No, I was just sitting there watching the tumbleweed blowing by with my pen, waiting to sign a stack of books that nobody turned up to get. But
The ego goes out the window.
ego.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the ego. It's
Because
just
you have to understand people's lives. Like, who has time? You have to really, really want to go. You have to really have the time.
yeah.
So I'm cool. I'll sit there. I'll sit there and just have the chats. It's fine.
But it is good though, isn't it? I mean, I think that is all character building
Yeah.
stuff, and I think it is about building resilience, and it also keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
Like, the first person that I rang was my brother, because I know he would take the absolute piss out of me.
Yeah.
He was in college at the time, and he just was like, he just made me feel like that this was not the end of the world, which I felt like it was at the time. But it is a reminder that you've got to kind of, dig deep, and shit will happen.
Absolutely.
And it can't be, it can't be all highs all the time.
Yeah.
How do you teach resilience to your kids? You've 3 kids. What does your husband do? He's not in this industry at all.
No, he's not. Various different things. And we do work together. We have a production company.
Okay.
So I wanted to develop more of my work.
Okay.
So we do that together. But
and
then
3
he does lots
kids.
of other things. Yeah, 3 kids.
So and I love the name of your children. Robin May, Sunny Ray, Blossom Bay.
Yeah, well done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love this because I'm reading a book at
And
the
that's why the production company is May Ray Bay.
The what?
Production company's May Ray Bay.
Oh,
so that makes sense.
May Ray Bay. Okay. Well, I'm reading this book at the moment, and it's by an author called Florence Knapp, and it's called The Names. Really interesting concept, and it's just out recently, and I'm kind of halfway through it. But the book is basically it follows 3 different story arcs. It's about a woman who's married to an awful ass of a guy who's very abusive, and she has a baby, and she already has an elder girl. But she has a baby, and it's kind of, if she called her child Bear, which is what she loved, and it's the name her daughter would have picked. And then it follows the story as if the child's name was Bear, and they go off on that tangent. And then Julian was the name that the mother liked, and then the storyline is completely, if they had called the child
clever.
Julian, really clever. And then if they called the child Gordon, which is what the husband was called, and what the husband's family, this was like the way it had always been done. The family lineage, and she didn't want to call him Gordon, and then it follows if the child was called Gordon, and it is so brilliantly done, and it's kind of the power of a name, and what
I'm a bit jealous of that idea. That's very
Are
good.
you?
Oh,
yeah, I thought. I mean,
That's
you should
very
read
clever.
it. You'd love it.
Yeah.
But there's so much in a name, and
There
I just
is,
think
yeah.
so. Like when it comes to the names of your kids, did you have them in your head? Like, because I have an Ellie and a Grace, and I had wanted my eldest Ellie to be called Grace, but I kind of went, there's too many. I read that it was the most popular name in Ireland that year or something, and I just didn't go with it. Now she's definitely an Ellie, but my daughter, my second daughter, I just loved the name.
Yeah. There is, if I didn't have a Sonny, if Sonny wasn't a boy, it was going to be Blossom. And so Blossom came a lot later. But I was channeling all Blossom things. Like lipstick, I was buying Peach Blossom, and like everything. And then when it came to Roar, sorry to turn it back to work, which I always do, but when it came to Roar and we were submitting it to production companies, there was a list that I was, given, and on the list was Blossom Films, and I was like, Blossom. So I was like, yeah, that's great. Who are they? It was Nicole Kidman, and that's who we ended up going with, and they produced it with me, Roar for Apple TV. And then I became pregnant, and I had my Blossom working with Blossom.
Oh my
So I was
God.
trying to attract all the blossoms. I was buying cherry blossom trees. I was doing everything with blossoms.
And when, even just before we came in to record, and the time was 11:11.
Oh yeah, manifest time.
So does that happen to you a lot?
Yeah, I think that now the 11:11 very important, but I think it doesn't have to be just at that time. But
Why is that important for people?
It's the kind of the angel numbers, isn't it?
Yes.
It's an important, and it's
I didn't know about this. It's Sheila Shoiga who's so into the angel numbers, and I know 11:11.
So some numbers have are more important, not more important, have importance. So what we always say is manifestation time in the house. So we all go quiet for 11:11 and we manifest. But I think you could do that at any time, really. And I've been doing that ever since I was a kid, I think.
Really?
All of
And the
this,
kids all do it as well?
Yeah, yes, they do actually. Yeah, they do it in their own ways. Like when I was little, I used to have this Fisher-Price record player. And I loved Michael Jackson, loved it.
Oh,
and I would sit in my wardrobe and I would literally daydream in my head all the things I wanted to be and all the things I wanted to do. And like, which is now has a label called manifestation. So yeah, I've been doing that all my life.
Amazing.
Just thinking of who you want to be, where you want to go, not things. Not material things, because that annoys me. I want this car. I'm going to think about getting this car. It's not that. It's about how you want to feel. How do you want people to think about you? More about that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the rest will come, hopefully, or maybe not. It doesn't matter anyway, whether you get that car or not.
I love that.
So yeah, that's it.
The world has changed in the 20 years since you've been writing. Like 21, you wrote P.S. I Love You. And you write about relationships and observing relationships in society and creating stories of that. And the world has completely changed. How has that impacted your writing?
I think people are still people though, aren't they? I mean, I'm writing about, what I want to write about is people overcoming challenges. I want to write about resilience and perseverance and the human spirit. And I don't think that changes. And they're the things that intrigue me. The way in which we communicate is different, but I don't think the way that we hope and dream and fear has changed at all. So I think when I was writing, for example, Where Rainbows End, which was a letter completely in letters and emails, and I remember when it got to the final edit stage, my editor said to me, there's these things coming in called Blackberries, and people are going to be able to email their phones directly. And I was like, well, that sounds like a very corporate thing that, people won't be doing with each other. So I'm not going to put that in my book. So if I was to rewrite that, it'd be very different. They couldn't have lost communication as easily as they did in that book, like a letter going missing or,
Yeah.
But I think fundamentally what I'm writing about is the core of who we are, and that doesn't really change. So
what has been the best thing about parenting for you? And has it changed you?
It's such a hard question, isn't it?
I never know how. I don't know why I ask people that, because I never know how to answer it myself.
I'd love to hear a good answer. Yes, it has changed me. I think that I don't know. I think that I have to be the voice of my children.
Yeah.
So it's made me more confident in ways, going in and speaking up for them in ways that I would never speak up for myself.
Yeah.
So that it's obviously brought me so much more joy. It has made my life less about me, very little about me, and very much about other people, which makes all of the little things that I used to worry about myself minuscule. But it should sometimes be more about me also.
Yes.
You have to get that balance. But it's just like guiding 3 other human beings in the world is just a gift, and obviously you have to focus on yourself as well. But so much, particularly as I get older, I'm just like, this is really about them now and their future, and just trying to do the best for them that I can. But I think I would have been a very solitary person, with friends, obviously. But I am a solitary person. And then as soon as you have kids, you're like joining in the community more,
in the tribe.
Yeah. You're going to these mother baby classes, you're singing songs, you're just more in the world, I think. Yeah. I am more in the world with them.
Yeah.
And it's funny, and we laugh every day, and we dance every day, and they just make me laugh, and it's all good.
I love that. Yeah, I feel that there's a lot of laughter. You have a great laugh, by the way. You have a lovely laugh.
It's very loud.
Yeah. But it's funny, just because I'm talking to an author, you read to your kids all the time?
Yes.
All the time,
yes.
Yeah. I'm at a stage now where, any of the Julia Donaldson books, and I actually take huge pride in this, because they don't really want me to read the story as it is, because I make up better stories.
Exactly.
Now, granted, they're mostly about poo or farts, or, something that is just, hilarious.
Yeah.
And continues to be hilarious. But
mine were like that too.
Were they? Yeah, yeah.
Particularly, they're all different. But my first always wanted me to, I remember I used to have to rap all of the Gruffalo. Like I'd be up there rapping the whole thing because it rhymed. And then the fairy tales, I used to have to completely rewrite, and she'd be laughing. She'd say, no, do the funny one.
The funny one.
We'd have to do the funny story. Funny. Yeah, where she'd turn around and she'd say to the prince something completely different, and we'd all be rolling around laughing. So yeah, I used to have to make up and then tell my own stories. So after the a day of writing, you know, when you just want them to go asleep. It's like, tell me a new story. And then I'd have to make up a story. So,
Wow.
but I don't mind if it's not reading a book. I still think that the whole art of storytelling and getting their little imaginations
Imagination.
going. My 6-year-old, I was telling her a story and she said in the middle of it, I can see it. And I was like, yes, that's the magic
For
of a
you,
story.
that's like the golden ticket.
That's what story, like you say a word and they can see it. And that is the magic of it. So, yeah.
Cecelia Ahern, quick fire questions. What is the one book that you wish you'd written?
Well, that name one now that you just mentioned is pretty good.
The name's
But
Florence
the
Knapp.
other one is The Time Traveller's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger.
Okay. A place you go when you need to reset.
Kerry. Specifically, Sneem was my favourite place.
You know that's where my mom lives.
What?
Yeah, my mom is from Kenmare, and now I'm saying that like, why would you know where my mom lives? But my mom was originally from Kenmare. She lived in Rose Cottage on the square in Kenmare there.
Why she's talking to everybody.
That's why she's talking to
A
everybody.
magic person from Kerry.
Yes, from the kingdom.
Wow.
Yeah, so so she lives in Dreenamackle, so just between Tahala, just between Kenmare and Sneem. Yeah, we're down there all the time. Park Nasilla, I know you love that as well.
That's the best place in the world. Yeah.
Your guilty pleasure, Cecelia Ahern.
Ooh. I play a lot of games on my phone.
Oh, which
I run
ones?
restaurants. I have farms. I'm very productive. If there's a time, if there's like a kind of a countdown, then I'm your girl.
Love that. Who would play you in a movie of your life?
Oh, Michelle Williams. Because, I'm growing my hair now, but she was only the only person with the pixie cut. And she's pretty fantastic.
She is amazing. What's one thing you still want to learn?
I want to be better at Irish. I love Irish. I loved it at school. So I'd love to get back into that. And the Baron.
There you go.
I started learning the Baron, but then I stopped. I need to go back to it.
You need to get back on that case. And finally, Cecelia Ahern, are you there yet?
No, not at all. I'm still looking forward. It's funny when a lot of the times when you pass the 20-year mark, you know, you've been in this for 20 years and we're looking back over 20 years. Like I'm still looking forward. So I'm not remotely there yet.
Love that. It has been such a pleasure chatting to you today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the laughs. Thanks for teaching me lots of new things about you as well. But most of all, thank you for saving me with your protein balls this morning.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
Needing hospital care can be confusing. The first question out of everyone's mouth, where do I go? Well, the most important decision when choosing a hospital is choosing one that you can trust, one that has the latest innovations and world-class expertise. That is why so many choose Mater Private Network. Mater Private is Ireland's largest hospital network with hospitals and clinics in 10 locations around the country. They offer some of Ireland's leading specialists in areas like cardiology, oncology, spine, orthopedics and more. At Mater Private Network, you can be absolutely sure their medical experts put you and your family's needs at the centre of everything they do. Choose the medical care you can trust. Choose Mater Private Network. To find out more, log on to matterprivate.ie.
You've been listening to Are We There Yet? Hosted by me, Kathryn Thomas. Visual design and video edit by Stephen King O'Farrell and Connor Daly. Music courtesy of Audio Network. Series producer Paul McGregor and executive producer Sasha Hamrogue. New episodes of Are We There Yet? Are released every Tuesday morning wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also watch this episode along on YouTube. Are We There Yet? With Kathryn Thomas is an Onic original.